Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WANA Live, the reading series of the Writers Association of Northern Appalachia. I'm your host, Damian Dressick, and this is your other host,
Christina Fasonic, and I am almost always broadcasting live from Wheeling, West Virginia, but tonight I am in Ripley, West Virginia at the West Virginia Writers Conference where WANA will be. We'll be doing a presentation on Saturday, and we will be attending a bunch of awesome presentations by writers from all over the Mountain State and elsewhere, including some of our very own WANA members. So how are you tonight, Davian?
I am well, thank you, Christina. I'm actually looking forward to leaving tomorrow morning to head down to West Virginia. I'm very curious to be my first attending of the West Virginia Writers Conference, so I'm really excited about it.
Mine too. I can't wait. And so far, there's some people here, and it's already starting to get buzzy. And you might hear that in the background, everyone, and that's because we're really live right here. So tonight we have a West Virginia writer, and we're very happy about that. Her name is Pleska. She is an author, an educator, a publisher, and an oral historian. She has an MFA in creative nonfiction. Her memoir, Writing on Comets, was published by West Virginia University Press in 2015. She has edited 3 anthologies, and her essays have appeared in Still, the Journal, Heartwood Magazine, Change 7 Magazine, and many others. So let's welcome Kat to the show.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be on here.
This is so exciting. We thought you would be the perfect person to represent our night before the big kickoff of the West Virginia Writers Conference, because I know you're a regular here, and you'll be joining us on Saturday.
Yes. In fact, at about 10 years ago, I was actually president of the organization for a couple of years. So
that's awesome.
I've been involved in it for a long time.
Excellent. I think this was the 41st year. Is that right?
That sounds about right. Yeah, I think so.
41st.
Yeah.
So at any rate, it's certainly old enough to buy liquor.
That's right.
Right.
Or a little bit of the illegal moonshine. I don't know. I just that's all I've heard is rumors.
Not in West Virginia, no. So what are you going to read for us tonight?
Well, as I said to you earlier, before we came on, I was a little bit nervous about this because it is a chapter from a novel I'm working on. I'm usually known as a nonfictionist, which is fine, but I'm kind of stepping out into the fiction world. I recently won second place in the Appalachian Fiction Contest, sponsored by Shepherd University, for a short story. So it gave me a little bit of encouragement. So this is a novel I've had kicking around in my head for a long time, and just kind of seeking the voice, the right kind of voice that I want to write in. And I think introducing the 2 characters that you'll meet in this piece is kind of setting the tone and the voice that I want to use.
Awesome. We can't wait to hear it. And we're going to disappear, and then we'll be right back when we're finished.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Great. Here we go. All right. This chapter is called Verlin and Octavia. As I said, these are the 2 characters that are the protagonists, and a kind of introduction to the 2 of them. Verlin loved Octavia, but he knew she wasn't so convinced of it. He'd loved her almost from the first time they met, but he had been determined to be a playboy. So he reckoned it was understandable that it was 2 months before he realized he wanted to marry Octavia. She knew much sooner, almost from the get-go, and that explained her impatience with him, that it took him a while. She'd settled down, though, and waited. She was young then and more patient. Time mellows out some people, or so he'd heard, but really not Octavia. If anything, she got more intense as the years went on. She told him it was because she was just getting smarter, but mostly he thought it was because she was just getting arrogant. But you couldn't tell her that. No, not Octavia. Woman could cook good, though. He thought Octavia was still a looker. If he had been a playboy like he daydreamed as a young man, he would have floated from pretty woman to pretty woman. They would have had money to keep him in trendy clothes and with a car, some cash in his wallet. He liked to hustle at pool, so he would have needed handmade pool cues and other accoutrements of the trade. Accoutrement. He got that word from Octavia. It's French, she told him the first time she'd used it. I heard Daffy Duck use it in a cartoon. He was a cowboy and was pulling off his pistols out of their holsters, and off came his chaps, too. Daffy said, "Excuse me, while I adjust my accoutrement." You know, I took French in college, Octavia reminded him. Verlin was sure he was a good lover, and that had convinced him he could be a playboy, along with his reasonably good looks. Trouble was, he never did find a wealthy woman before he met Octavia. Octavia hated having second sight, but it was her mother's fault, and her mother's, and there was some of that business on her father's side, too. Hell, they were polluted with it. As her mother lay dying in the hospital all those years ago, she said, "You have the gift, Octavia. You just won't admit it." Then how is it I didn't see your death coming? Octavia thought as she watched her mother struggle to breathe, and then her heart finally gave out after years of doctoring and taking a cabinet full of medicine. Octavia was stunned to think her mother, a block of solid concrete, nothing blew that woman over or away, had died. Octavia never saw her father's death coming either. 8 years later, fell over in his tater patch, as he called it. She could not see Verlin's future either. She studied him. He was still a fairly good-looking man at 65. He'd just gotten out of the Army when they first met at a drive-in restaurant. Thick blonde hair and sexy blue eyes. He sort of looked like the actor Lee Majors, if you squinted. Verlin was acting odd lately, and she feared it was Alzheimer's onset. That's what his dad had died from. Or maybe it was just delayed PTSD from being in Vietnam. She'd read it could manifest years later. If she was psychic, she wasn't any good, and if for people close to her, well, maybe that was best. When her good friend Eunice asked her to go to Lilydale with her, she was intrigued. This was a town full of mediums who talked to the dead. It was founded in the mid-1800s in the Burnt-Over district in western New York during the height of the spiritualism movement. "I rented the Jewel of the Lake Victorian house for us there," Eunice told her. "It has a little girl ghost who leaves money on your bed." "Well, gee, how can I refuse?" Octavia said. Leaving Verlin worried her, though. He could cook and take care of their farty old dog and putter in his workshop making pool cues for his so-called hustler friends. They really were old men who thought they could still sink a ball in the corner pocket, when in truth it was just old dreams and a little pocket change they could still knock around. He was at his computer when she mentioned the trip to him, and he said, "Hell yes, take off. You and Eunice talk about spiritualism all the time anyway. Might as well go to the source. I'll be fine." "Okay, then. We'll leave on Thursday morning and be back on Monday afternoon. She's driving as she can see better at night than I can." "Well, that's good. I won't have to worry," he said. His hearing aid whistled when he turned back to his computer. "Is that thing supposed to whistle all the time? I still can't get used to you whistling when you say your S's since you got your dentures. You should learn some tunes, and then we'd be entertained. You know, I can take this thing back, and then I won't whistle, except when I say my S's." He kept his back to her. Serve her right, he thought. I won't hear her talking. Aware she'd offended him, she asked, "Can they adjust it?" "I don't know. It's used." "Can't used ones get adjusted?" "I'll see into it." The day of the trip came, and Eunice drove up Verlin and Octavia's long, steep driveway. Octavia loaded her suitcase in the back of the Yukon and started to climb in the front passenger seat, only to encounter a small cardboard box. "Oh, sorry," Eunice said as she removed the box and placed it in the back seat. "What is that, Eunice?" "Davy." "Your husband's ashes?" Octavia turned to look at the box. Eunice nodded. "I'm hoping one of those mediums might get some, I don't know, some vibes or something, and Davy will come through and talk to me. Maybe leave a message." Oh, great, Octavia thought. A 6-hour drive with a box of cremains, only to arrive to a ghost wandering around in the bedroom, leaving coins for the pop machine. Et voila.
That
You're there.
I was worried, Christina. You disappeared. I thought the whole ghost thing got to you.
You never know. Ghost of the machine.
Oh, that was wonderful, Kat. I love that. I'm so curious about what's going to happen next in this town. That is when I guess I'm going to use your own, when it comes to mediums, polluted with them.
Yes, that's right. And there are, and this is a real place, and I've actually been there. So it's going to be very fun to write about. Very much fun. And there are, I think, around 99 mediums that live there. Mediums are the only ones who are allowed to live in this little town.
Whoa!
I love the looks on your faces. This is a very true place. In fact, I may be going back there again in July just for the heck of it.
I mean, if you lose your gift, they evict you.
You're put through a gauntlet. You have to prove your medium abilities, or you cannot move in. Yeah. And no one can actually buy a place there. You can rent it for 99 years. So you can move in and out of it. Other mediums can move in, but they're the only ones that are allowed to be there. So
that is so cool.
Look it up. Look it up on the internet. Lilydale, 2 words, Lilyddale. Yeah, it's fun.
Fascinating. I love the character names too, and all of the different, action, and that there's so many different storylines that are happening.
Yes,
here.
and yes, absolutely. And I'm laying Easter eggs. I'm laying clues all through this. The hearing aids have a factor in it, believe it or not. He begins to hear things. He begins to hear the voice of someone who's been murdered, who had the hearing aids before. They really do harvest those from deceased people and refurbish them and reuse them. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. I hope.
That's a word.
Terrified. They're frighteningly expensive. That's why they do that.
Mm-hmm. It is. They're very expensive. That's true. Yeah.
So you have some fans over here.
Oh, okay.
Judith Ramsey Southard says, "Great, she's watching on her SmartCast."
Great. Hi, Judy. Good to see you.
And Debbie Hagan says that she loves it. She can't wait to read it. And I agree. I cannot wait to hear more about this story.
Hi, Debbie.
I've learned so much just in the 10 minutes or something that you've been on the show. So I'm very intrigued.
Oh, good.
Absolutely. Sounds like very fun stuff.
Yes,
sure.
That's why it was important to me. And I've been working on it for a long time, off and on, to get the right voice. And the 2 characters are based on my husband and me, and we bicker like children all the time. But it's just, from having been married a long time, that's what happens. There's something serious behind it. We just kind of, bicker and go on our way. And it
beats watching TV.
Yes, exactly. Yes, that's right. So.
Well, thank you so much, Pat. We are going to look forward to that coming out, and certainly check out some of your other writing. And I want to remind everybody, West Virginia Writers Conference is going on in Ripley this weekend, and you should come down and join us. There's still time to show up and join in on the fray. There's lots of panels tomorrow and Saturday, and there's all kinds of stuff just going on. There's stuff on Sunday too, so you should come down and join us. And WANA will be here the whole time. So we hope to see everybody here, and we'll see you for sure, Kat, on Saturday, and Damien, we'll see you tomorrow. So.
All right. Okay. And if you can't make it to Ripley, we'll see you next week at 8:00 right here on the online.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks, Kat.
Thank you. Bye-bye.